I'm here tonight with Jan Seides. Um, how's how you been doing since we last spoke?
It's been real busy around here and hot. But I'm doing fine. So I guess everything's all right.
Okay. Have you been recording or anything like that? Or
I am learning to produce and I'm practicing on my own material. So that's that's been my main effort for, let's see, 2.5 years now.
what was the first concert you ever went to, and who did you go see perform?
The first one I remember was Judy Collins. And she was way down there in a long green velvet dress. And I took one look at her and went, that's what I want to do.
Do you prefer listening to music or creating?
Listening or making it?
Yes.
Oh, making it far and away.
And do you have experience in teaching music?
Only about 30 years worth.
Wow.
I've been teaching piano for most of my adult life. And I've been teaching guitar for almost the same length of time. And voice. And mandolin sometimes. And ukulele sometimes.
Okay. And we're going to play your soundtrack, and So I Followed.
Okay.
Never walked the streets, I'm glad of that. Never washed his feet, but I wish I had. I was a woman who believed, so I followed. Stayed by his side, learned all I could. He was my guide and it was good. Then he was crucified, but I still followed. You know who I am? My name is Mary. I was part of his plan, part of his story. I loved the man, I loved his truth, I loved his spirit. And so I followed. Here's what he said, love is the way. He loves us yet, though some would say he was conquered by death. But still I followed. You know who I am? My name is Mary. I was part of his plan, part of his story. I loved the man, I loved his truth, I loved his spirit. And so I followed. They asked me to tell what I'd learned, but wouldn't believe what I had to say. Their envy simmered and burned, and once he was gone, they cast me away. But I still felt his grace. My name is Mary. I was part of his plan, part of his story. I loved the man, I loved his truth, I loved his spirit. That's why I followed. and so I follow.
What inspired you to write that song?
Okay, so I had I thought, finished a project that was stories from the Bible that you didn't get to hear because nobody bothered to ask them. And usually it had to do with what in a play or TV show now it would be considered a minor character. But that character was usually female. That's what got my attention to begin with. And I thought, well, there's all these stories to be told. It's like the spear carrier, on Star Trek, he would be wearing a red shirt. And before the episode was over, somebody'd be standing over him or her going, "He's dead, Jim." But, those people in the stories, they were part of the story and they had their own point of view, and I decided to tell some of them from that point of view. Well, I thought I was through with it. I had, I think, maybe 13 or 14 songs, and I was working with Bradley Kopp, who is a recordist and wonderful producer here in Austin, and the Nag Hammadi Gospels, the ones that they found in a cave in Egypt, all of that, the pieces of biblical literature that had been hidden away during the 2nd and 3rd century because some people got together and decided what should be in the Bible, and especially what should be in the story of Jesus. And if you had something else, then that was to be destroyed because it was not part of the official Bible. And so all of these Gospels got hidden away in this cave so that they wouldn't be destroyed. And 2,000 years later, one of the jars that they were hidden in cracked, and the local people in the neighborhood were using what they found there as kindling. There was an archaeological site a couple miles away, and one of the archaeologists saw one of these pieces of parchment go by and went, "Wait, where is this coming from?" And her gospel, Mary Magdalene's gospel, was one of the pieces that they found. Not that she wrote it. I mean, most of this was written 200 or 300 years afterwards. But I think it tells her story more authentically than the story in the Bible where they've conflated her with 2 other people, one of whom was a prostitute. The real Mary Magdalene was never a prostitute. She was a widowed and wealthy woman, and the reason that she was there was because she was funding the movement, and as a follower and eventually as a part of everything. Well, on this gospel, it said that after he was gone, the other disciples, knowing she was closer to him than they ever were, asked her what he said to her when they weren't around. And she told them, and they refused to believe what she told them. Well, that's so right up my alley, right? Exactly the theme I was going for, and I just couldn't resist it. I had to write a song about her from her point of view. It's the only New Testament song in there, because I was raised Jewish and I don't know very much about the New Testament, but that touched my heart, and I think you can hear that in the song. So yeah, that's what inspired it. I'm sure you weren't hoping for an answer quite that long, but there it is.
If you could trade places with any musician in the world, who would it be?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I think I'm happy where I am. I mean, there's a lot of musicians that I admire, and I wish I had their skills and hope one day to approach where I think they are, and I kind of hold them in very high regard, but I'm okay being me.
Okay. What are the interests outside of music for you?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I love to read. I love to garden. I like making things with my hands, so I sew and I knit and I crochet and I draw. Yeah, that sums it up.
Okay. Where can people go and see your music videos at events?
Okay, I'm on YouTube. I have a channel. So it's youtube.com/Jan Seides, spelled exactly like you see it over there. And let's see. They could also, if they wanted to, they could go to my website, which is janseides.com. And there's a sampling of some of my handiwork and most of my music on there in the store, so you can listen to things. Listen to things in the store.
And you got a newsletter you send out? A newsletter?
Oh yeah, I sure do. If you'd like to be on my email list, and I would love that because I get to talk about things that one doesn't normally get to talk about. You know, history and, just all sorts of things. And I get to introduce my friends on my newsletter, and also all the shows that I'm scheduled to do, they're all in there. So if anybody would like to do that, go to janseides.com, JANSEIDES.com, and sign up for my email list.
Well, thanks for being on the show tonight. I really enjoyed having you back.
Thank you.